Vincent, Vincent, last name Acevez, Acevez.
And would you like to be referred to as Vince or Vincent?
Vince is fine.
So you have been out here all day for the job. Tell me about what the process has been like. It started early, right?
Yeah. I've met with a lot of different.
One second. You should turn this on, right? Okay. Started early, right?
Yeah, met with a lot of different members of many different organizations from the community, a lot of different people from management here in the city of Muskegon, police department members, and I've answered a lot of questions, and I've asked people to be as intrusive as they like to be in terms of the questions that they were asking here.
And you got questions in here about community engagement, about racial profiling. What were some of the takeaways that you've had throughout the day on the issues here in Muskegon?
That people are invested in the community here, and they want public safety to be partners with them in improving the quality of life here in the community. And those are things that I've all done in my career, and that have allowed me to have the small successes that I've been able to have in my career.
And your career, about more than 20 years long, right? You started in Cicero, you worked a little bit at Morton College. Just in a nutshell, tell me about your policing career up to this point.
Close to 25 years in law enforcement. I've had a great career. I wouldn't change a thing about it. At a certain point in my career, when I realized the value of collaborating with the community in a meaningful and intentional way, that allowed us as an organization at the Cicero Police Department to have unbelievable results in terms of lowering our violent crime numbers, in terms of impacting and affecting young children's lives in the community. And those things helped us improve the quality of life for our citizens, because ultimately the underlying job that we're responsible to do as public safety servants is to serve people.
And tell me about your thoughts when it comes to transparency and communicating things out to the public. Let's say when there's something going on, whether it be a shots fired call or something goes wrong at one of the events that Muskegon has throughout like the summertime, getting that information out to the public as well as your friends, the media.
Yeah, transparency it's vital. It's critical. I've said before, one of people's basic needs is the need to feel safe, right? So how do you do that as a public safety organization? Well, you communicate. You put as much information out as you can. You keep people aware of what's going on in their communities, because awareness goes a long way towards prevention, and awareness also creates dialogue. And if you can have that type of relationship with the community where it's reciprocal, you're providing them information and they're also providing information to you, that's what the goal is.
And do you feel like your experience in Cicero, taking those crime numbers and bringing them down will benefit the work here in Muskegon, or are there any other parts of your work in Cicero that you think could benefit?
Absolutely. Specifically all the work in the community. Everything is interrelated. We would not have been able to achieve the successes that we did as a police organization without the collaboration and partnership with the community. And recognizing that, I think number one, it's important, and number two, knowing that I understand how that works and how to get things like that going. I could foresee myself doing something like that here.
Let's imagine the first 100 days if you take this job. Are there, is there a top priority you have, or a top three that you would like to see accomplished in that time frame?
It's hard to pinpoint any single thing. As a leader of an organization, anytime you go in, you have to make evaluations, make observations, have conversation, elicit feedback from as many different stakeholders as you can. And that's the process. That takes time. Once you do that, you determine your needs and wants, you prioritize things, and then, based on all that, you take all that information, you synthesize it, and then you create your plan. And if you communicate with people, you communicate with stakeholders as you're doing that, you're going to have success.
Is there a particular challenge that you think is facing police departments right now, especially, that you've seen kind of develop over time in your career? And it doesn't just have to be here in Muskegon, but
Trust, and a lot of it goes back to some of the things that you were asking me about earlier. How do you bridge that gap? How do you build more trust? Through transparency, through communication, through following up. If people call the police, if they call me, if I was the chief of police or the director of public safety or the chief of patrol like I was for the Cicero Police Department, I respond. I've had the same cell phone number for 25 years. I give it out to everybody. When you respond to people, when you communicate with them, and when you're intentional about following up, that goes a long way towards building trust, and that really gets you momentum.
And when you think about, let's say, you retire from this department another 20 years from now, what would you like to be remembered by if you take this job?
Helping kids in the community achieve all that they could. I was asked a lot of questions about my involvement with youth in the community and how important I feel that is, and I think it's something that public safety has to be involved with. It's not just the responsibility of the parents, not just the responsibility of the schools. It's all of our responsibility. And if we can collaborate with schools, with social service agencies, with parent groups, with business groups to enrich the lives of children and to set them up for the best education and opportunities, and people remember me for something like that, I'll be happy.
Giving you a quick Google, just going through old news articles, I came across a lawsuit from, I believe, 2003, 2004.
Yes.
And that was settled with that family. I wanted to know if you had any comments, if people were to come upon that information, and what would you like to say to them about that situation?
Sure. That incident was back in 2002, I believe. So it was 20 years ago. There was an independent there was an internal investigation which exonerated us, and there was also an independent third-party investigation which exonerated us of any wrongdoing. So I didn't do anything wrong. Like you said, the city of Cicero did settle with those people, but things like that happen, and they happen frequently in law enforcement over there. Civil litigation in the Chicago area, in the Cook County area, is, my opinion is, it's out of control, because a lot of municipalities will just settle cases rather than fight them, because it costs more money to fight cases than it does to settle them. And law enforcement organizations don't always appreciate that because of the question you just asked me. So, yeah, I can't think of any other response to that question.
Is there anything else you'd like to share when it comes to potentially taking on this job, and what you're excited for, what you think the community needs to know about you if I didn't ask you already? And just kind of personally, when I think about it, I think of Muskegon as kind of a smaller version of Cicero when it comes to the issues that some people have in this community. So just want to hear your thoughts.
Can you repeat the question?
Anything else you'd like to share? What do you think people need to know about you?
That I follow up, I respond. I'm very intentional about it. I really work on building trust, and I have a track record of that. If I end up here, if I'm selected and I'm offered the opportunity and I accept the opportunity, I think we're going to be able to do some great things here as an organization and as a community.
I wanted to ask you one last thing. You were supposed to have one other guy here, and it seems like he passed on the opportunity. So did you have any thoughts there when it comes to being the only guy standing here today?
No. I enjoyed meeting everybody today. I enjoyed the process. I enjoyed the first couple of interviews. But it's been a grueling day. Glad it's coming to an end today, but I'm excited to see what they have to say.